Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name's Kate, and this is the fourth video in my foster care series that I've recently started. And if you haven't seen the other videos, I'm going to link them in the description box below in case you want to check those out. Make sure to give these videos a thumbs up if you're liking this content. And a little bit about me is I have a 7-month-old daughter. Well, she's going to be turning 7 months this week. And we haven't had a placement since I got pregnant with her. But the first video that I made in this series is all about the first placement that we brought home from the hospital. We had a little newborn from the NICU for about 4 weeks with us. And we haven't had a placement since she went home. But that video will explain more about that. This video is going to be all about what to bring in your visitation bag and how our first experience with visitation was when we got to meet her biological parents and how that all went. But before I start this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more foster care content as well as motherhood and lifestyle videos. But anyways, let's jump into the video. This is the bag that I used for visitations when we did have our foster daughter. And I know this is kind of weird because I packed up this bag just to show you. I don't have a placement right now, so I'm not having visitations. But I'm going to be showing you what I used to bring to visitations when we had our foster daughter. So maybe you can get an idea if you're starting foster care or if you're just waiting for a placement and liking this kind of content to get you prepared. Maybe this can give you a little bit of an idea. So in this bag, it has little side pockets, and I got this bag for like $15 off of Amazon, and it just has these little pockets here and then a big open space. When we had my foster daughter, we would always have this visitation bag that we just took to visitations, and then I just had my own separate diaper bag. And the reason I did that is because it's nice to have this bag just packed up and ready to go whenever you go to a visitation. That way you're not packing up a bag every single time. You can keep most everything in here the same and then just add a few things like extra diapers and a new bottle and that kind of thing. And since younger kids have usually more visits a week, our foster daughter had 3 visits a week, it's very convenient to just grab this bag and go rather than packing up a visitation bag every single time. So I'm going to go through and show you what's in here. And honestly, there's not that much because the visitation was only an hour long, 3 times a week. So for an hour, you don't really need that much stuff. And I would always pack a bottle. You can put the water in it so it's ready to go, just so it's one less step that they have to do. And if you use like purified water, you can have the bottle filled up with water already and then just either add the scoops of formula yourself before the baby goes into the visitation, or you can just have the formula dispenser in your bag so that they can do it themselves. And I know it's only an hour visit, but I usually always had a bottle for them to feed to her just because it's a good bonding experience, and they only got to see her 3 times a week for an hour, so I figured during that hour if they can bond with her a little bit and feed her, that's really good for both them and the baby. So I always had the bottle, usually, unless she had to eat right before and she didn't need one, I always had that in here as an option to feed her. If your baby's of eating age, you can pack a little snack for them, some little crackers, different things like that, because they might not bring any food during the visit, and just to pass the time, they might want to feed them or something like that. So I just stuck one of my daughter's pouches in here. That's kind of weird, but that's what I did. And then always an extra outfit just in case they needed to change her, and they might just, like I said, they might just want to change her just to have that extra bonding experience of doing something for their daughter or son. Instead of just sitting there and playing with them the whole time, they might want to do those motherly or fatherly things to change their baby, feed their baby, that kind of stuff. So I always had that in here as an option just in case that's something that they wanted to do. If I only got to see my baby 3 times a week, I would definitely want to feed them and probably change them. And I also packed some toys in here because if you don't have a newborn, the baby is probably going to need something to keep them entertained, and the parents can interact with them. So I just put a variety of toys in here. When we had our daughter, she was just an infant, so I did pack a book for them, but I didn't pack any toys. But I have these books here, and then maybe switch out the books every few days, just to give them some variety, to have a different book for them to read to the child. So I have those toys in here. And then a pacifier if they take a pacifier, or a comfort item if they have a special comfort item. And then I always would give them a blanket just in case it was cold in the visitation room. So that's everything I had in this bag. And one last thing is that I would always keep this keychain that was left at the hospital. The nurse thought it may have been from the parents, so I would always keep the keychain with her name on it on the bag. Since they got it for her, I wanted to make sure they knew that I cared about that. I cared about that item that they sent home with her because that was the only item that the nurse said may have been from the parents. Also, I would bring some pictures printed out when I could. I think I only did it a couple times, but when she got her newborn session, I printed out pictures and brought those to them because that's special for the parents. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about what our first experience was like when we had our first visitation. That was our first placement. We had never been to a visitation and we hadn't really been told what to expect. So we walked in, it was at a DHS building. So we walked in and we did not realize that we would just be, meeting the parents before the social worker introduced us or anything. So we just walked in and we had to check in. They gave us these stickers with our names on them and it had our first and last name. And we weren't comfortable with that. We weren't comfortable with wearing them. So we ended up putting them, I think, on our phone or somewhere out of sight because we hadn't even known the situation or anything about the parents. And we didn't feel comfortable giving out our full names just in case, they could always look us up, see where we live, that kind of thing. So we didn't show those stickers. We just kept them put away privately. But when we walked in, we went up the elevator and we sat down in the waiting room. We had to check in. And we just waited there. No one was there yet. And then we kept seeing people come in and we kept wondering, are the parents just going to walk in here? That's going to be kind of awkward because if someone was introducing you, it'd be a little less awkward. But just to see them yourselves and you have their child and they don't know you at all, it's kind of weird. So we just sat there and waited. We were hoping the social worker would come out. And he never did. So finally the parents walked in and we didn't know because we had no idea who they were or what they looked like. But they walked out and they checked in and we heard them say their names and we knew that they were the parents because we had seen their name on paperwork. And it was so awkward. They walked over and sat down and they saw that we had their daughter, but they didn't come over because it was very uncomfortable. And you could see that they weren't very fond of us. You might think, oh, we're taking care of your child, they should be grateful for that. They should be happy to see us, but they're not probably going to be happy to see you the first time because they might feel like you're taking their child away from them, even if, we know that's not the case. But they ended up coming around, and after the first introduction, their social worker came out. He came out and introduced us, and, they said hi. They weren't very friendly, and they weren't very nice. But they did do the visit and they came back and we did the handoff again and they still weren't very friendly. But the next visit when we came back, we had told our baby social worker what had happened and that we didn't really feel like we were properly introduced. So he took the time the next time when they came in to talk to them before because he was already in meetings with them. So he talked to them about the situation and the next time we met them, they were very friendly. And from then on, every time we saw them, they usually thanked us for taking care of her, told us that we were doing a good job, and we started to really form a relationship. And that was my favorite part, being able to go and see the parents and get to talk to them or bring them a picture, just something a little bit encouraging to them because they were in a very rough situation and it couldn't have been easy to have their child taken away. So for us to just show that little bit of kindness and them to actually show appreciation back really felt like we were starting to form a relationship, and it was really a positive experience. And I know that doesn't happen every time, but in our case, it really ended up working out, and the approach that we took and that they ended up taking really worked, and we had a good relationship while we had their baby. I'm hoping that they have a good relationship with the people that have her now. I actually still get to keep in touch with them, and they still send us pictures of her, and I can't really say what's happening, but they keep us updated. So that's really nice of them. They don't have to do that, but she does text me every now and then with pictures and a little update. So that's been really nice, and I'm really thankful for that. But that was our experience with our first visitation, meeting the biological parents and how it went. So maybe that can kind of prepare you a little bit for what's going to happen, but I mean, you never know how your first visit's going to go. Every office does things differently, so hopefully yours is a little less awkward than ours. But again, if you like this video, please make sure and give it a thumbs up and check out my other foster care content that I've done recently. And don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!